Netanyahu says in leaked audio, I'm up against the whole world, including Joe Biden. Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. We'll just get into it like we always do from Greek News on Demand. Got this story. As Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, who wants pro-Israel extremist Donald Trump to win in November, yes, of course he does, was heard in a newly leaked phone call with the father of a hostage whose body was recently recovered, explaining that he was up against the whole world, including U.S. President Joe Biden. Times of Israel reported that Netanyahu and his wife Sarah called the Rabbi Danino to offer sympathies about the death of his son Ori in Hamas captivity. The phone call was tense, and the rabbi criticized Netanyahu for allowing Hamas to gain strength over the years. Sarah Netanyahu explained in the call that her husband is very alone, and the prime minister agreed. Alone against the whole world, against the president of the United States. Alone against the whole world, he says. And gee, what does it say? In Revelation 16, beginning in verse 13. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. For they are demonic spirits, performing signs, who go abroad to the kings of the whole world, to assemble them for battle on the great day of God the Almighty. And what's he saying here? He's alone against the whole world, even against the President of the United States. So now Rabbi Danino accused Netanyahu of being more concerned about his own political survival than returning the hostages. Of course he is. Like I said yesterday in one of my blogs, that if Netanyahu doesn't keep this war going, they'll prosecute him and he's done for all these crimes he's committed. But anyway, Netanyahu has benefited from the limitless support from the Biden administration, and Vice President Kamala Harris has vowed to keep up the weapons shipment to Israel to make sure Tel Aviv will be able to continue the slaughter in Gaza. But somehow Trump has billed himself as an even more rabid supporter of Israel. So his former pro-Israel extremist ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, you remember him, he was part of the Abraham Accords process. He recently said that his goal to persuade the former president, if elected again, to support Israel annexation of the West Bank based on the U.S.'s biblical duty. Unreal, these people. Friedman argues in his book, One Jewish State, The Last Best Hope to Resolve the Israeli-Palestinian Conflict, through genocide, is basically what they mean, that Washington should support Israel's annexation based first and foremost on biblical prophecies and values. Yes, their warped view of those things. Netanyahu has refused to agree to a ceasefire deal with Hamas because his extremist government would dissolve, and he would face corruption charges that could result in a sentence that would put him behind bars for the rest of his life. Netanyahu got biblical on Sunday and said, "We will wield the sword of David together, and with God's help, we will win." Yes, isn't that nice? No, actually, Jesus Christ is returning soon, and you're probably not going to like that very much. Just saying. Also in Israel, some covert intel from Hal Turner. So here we go. Yesterday, the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, presented extensive preparations for full-scale war against Hezbollah in Lebanon to U.S. General Kurilla, CENTCOM chief. Kurilla visited the IDF Northern Command HQ and met senior Israeli officers. The scope of the IDF plan is literally full-scale war, and based on U.S. military assessment of the plan, it will absolutely spark a major regional war throughout the Middle East. And there we go. Of course, we've heard this rhetoric before, but we're hearing it more and more now, and especially from the Israeli government itself. So we'll see. We shall see how that goes. But if this plan is correct, what Hal is reporting here is true, then this would be full-scale war throughout the Middle East, I would imagine. And then turning to worldwide Armageddon, we have this. Also from Hal Turner, the U.S. and UK are to officially approve long-range attacks in the pre-war Russia. Here we go. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken and UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy will travel to Kiev to inform Ukraine that restrictions on use of long-range missiles against Russian territory will be lifted. Initially, this will mean that American-supplied ATACMS, Advanced Tactical Missile System, along with the British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles and French-supplied Scalp missiles, can now be used to attack deep inside pre-war Russia. Now, how much longer can any reasonable person expect Russia to sit back and allow itself to be attacked with American, British, French, and German weaponry fired by Ukraine? Indeed. And this has been one of the great frustrations I'm reporting on this war over the last 2.5 years, right? I mean, it'll be 3 years coming up this winter. But anyway, just 2.5 years now of this back and forth, red line crossed here, red line crossed there. Are there really any red lines anymore? Are there really? Because they've all been crossed as far as I'm concerned, and as far as Russia's concerned, and they keep talking about revamping their nuclear war doctrine. And I'm not looking forward to a nuclear war. Don't get me wrong. I don't want it to happen. I pray for peace every day. But I'm also aware of what Bible prophecy says, including Jeremiah 51, and what's coming for America and otherwise. Nonetheless, you have to wonder, when does this back and forth end, and when do the buttons actually start getting pushed? We'll have to see. And in the meantime, all I can do is report to you what I'm seeing. And I'm not going to read the rest of this that Hal commented on, because we've talked about it all already. We've talked about all of it. And so there's no sense in me just repeating the obvious and repeating what we've already talked about for the last 2.5 years now. Yes, Russia has the right to defend itself against NATO, and they should. The question is, when will they do it? Could be any time. September is a time for war. World War II broke out in September 1939, so who knows? We shall see. But like I said, it's not that I'm looking forward to it or cheering it on. But I know everyone is getting tired of the back and forth. It's not just me. I know you guys tell me about it all the time. In the meantime, all I can do is brief you on what I'm seeing in front of me, and then show you how it pertains in Bible prophecy. Also, speaking of which, I put up a story on don'tspeaknews.com that we can't put anywhere else because of what we talk about there in this particular story, the great poisoning and the great die-off. And that goes to Revelation 16:2. Let back up here. The first angel went and poured out his bowl on the earth, and harmful and painful sores came upon the people who bore the mark of the beast and worshipped its image. And so we're starting to see that more and more today with the monkey stuff and everything else. So that story is over at don'tspeaknews.com. Put it up here a little bit ago. And that'll be it for now, guys. All I can say is stay prayed up, stay prepped up, especially prayed up. We don't know how long we have in this life. And the next step, well, that's forever. That's for eternity. So make sure you're going to spend it in the right place. Make sure of that. Jesus Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. No one gets to the Father but through him. He said it himself. Make him your Lord and Savior today while there's still time. And that's it for now. God bless. Take care. Tony Storm. Don't Speak News.